you know, well, I have the blueprint.
She's referring to her and her marriage as the blueprint?
She said, yeah, I have the blueprints. You know, with Marcel, you gotta put your foot down. You gotta let him know what you stand like. I left Martell for 6 months, and that whipped him into shape. I don't know, you think maybe she's telling me I need to leave Marcel for a little bit?
Honey, no. And if she was, that's the most ridiculous I've ever heard, ever. Yeah. I don't think Mel is in the best position to give blueprints or marital advice. Because you have 10 years to your back, doesn't necessarily mean that the road was not rough. So, she can keep her advice. You trying to reach some of your goals are gonna be incongruent with some of the goals he's trying to reach. You just gotta find a happy medium.
I think she believed that they have done that. They're there at that point in their life.
And so he had to cheat to get there? It was tough.
Tough is an understatement.
I felt sorry for Mel.
I did too. It took Martell a long time to answer that question about the possibilities of what if.
Took way too long. Matter of fact, he never answered it. That made it even worse.
Right.
No, I don't like that you and Marcel said y'all would stay and hang out with somebody that you know was actively involved with, like somebody messing around.
And you think that being there makes you complicit? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that you have an influence on someone.
Once you stay, you make a choice to participate.
No, you don't, because you're not cheating. I've been around Martell and her. I didn't see their interactions. So I didn't see the she makes me feel this way or whatever, right? In that situation, I told Martell, bro, this is not it. This is not what you should be doing. But going forward, I'm not leaving a party because somebody's cheating. No, I'm not.
Owes my family an apology. More so because a lot of times he'll have this perspective of it was a joke or I was trying to be funny and it did not land at all.
When Melody Shari speaks, you best believe people are all ears. But what she just spilled about Kimmi Scott, oh baby, it's got the streets buzzing. Before we dive into the juicy details, let's rewind a bit and really break down the mess behind their fiery drama. Melody's tea isn't just about throwing shade. Oh no, it's deeper than that. We're talking loyalty, trust, and the kind of emotional damage that only betrayal can leave behind.
Think about Kimmi insisting you had the shakes. Damn, it went away again. Insisting you had the shakes. As a nurse, do you think her comments were dangerous? I do, yeah. I don't know, if you look at the hug, it's very quick. I don't know how she could have felt me having the shakes from just like a, hey, how you doing? You know, am I doing all that? That's something, like, I don't know. I think it's very irresponsible of her as a nurse to say anything like that or put anything like that out and give them more ammo to be able to say things that are not true. So yeah, I do.
The relationship between Melody Shari and Kimmi Scott on Love and Marriage. Huntsville, baby, it's been all over the place. In the early seasons, both of these ladies were giving each other a vibe of mutual respect. Kimmi was that calm, collected voice of reason, always staying out of the mess and keeping it real with the practical stuff. Melody, on the other hand, was dealing with her own storm, especially after Martell Holt's cheating came to light. At first, Kimmi seemed like she genuinely felt for Melody, offering that support we all needed to see. But as time went on, things started getting real rocky. Fans began picking up on the shift. What once looked like a friendship full of good vibes soon turned into heated arguments and straight-up tension. One moment that really set the internet on fire, Kimmi refusing to call Martell's mistress a side chick. Meanwhile, Melody was crystal clear about the betrayal she felt and the role that woman played in destroying her marriage. But Kimmi, she was playing it neutral, acting like those labels weren't a big deal. To Melody, that felt like a slap in the face, like Kimmi wasn't validating the very real hurt she was going through. This was just the beginning of what Melody now calls Kimmi's hypocrisy. Over time, their interactions got colder. Melody started calling out Kimmi for what she saw as selective accountability, quick to judge others, but never owning up to her own actions. Fans noticed that Kimmi always tried to stay neutral, but Melody wasn't having it. She saw it as a way for Kimmi to dodge the tough calls when it was clear she should have taken a stand. Kimmi not calling out Martell's mistress, just one example of how deep that rift really ran. At the heart of the mess between Melody and Kimmi is loyalty, or lack thereof. Melody feels like Kimmi's constant neutrality is just code for silently siding with people who've done her dirty. In a recent episode, Melody had had enough and straight up called out Kimmi's double standards. With Zero, Melody didn't bite her tongue, accusing him of being all over the place when it comes to infidelity and loyalty. It's funny how Kimmi refuses to call Martell's mistress a side chick, but she's quick to judge how I handle my life, Melody fired back during their heated exchange. And let me tell you, that moment wasn't just about a label. It was years of frustration coming to a head. For Melody, Kimmi's hesitation to call out Martell's mistress wasn't just a disagreement over words. It was a sign that Kimmi wasn't truly there for her during one of the darkest chapters of her life. On top of that, Melody hit hard by calling out Kimmi's neutrality as basically taking Martell's side, which left her feeling straight up betrayed, especially since she'd been so vulnerable on the show, showing her rawest moments. Fans wasted no time jumping into the drama, with some backing Melody, saying Kimmi's refusal to take a stand felt like a betrayal of their bond. Others defended Kimmi, claiming she was just trying to stay above the mess. But no one could deny the intensity of that moment and the genuine hurt in Melody's voice. What made this exchange even more explosive? It wasn't just a one-time disagreement, it was years of built-up tension, loyalty shifts, and clashing ideas about accountability. Melody's words dropped like bombs, revealing all the pain and frustration she's been holding in, and exposing the real cracks in their friendship for the world to see.
Recall when you wanted us to go to one of the galas around Christmas time. And my response was, I don't feel like being bougie, I want to be with my family. Like, I don't want to spend all my time.
Why I gotta be considered bougie because you don't want to go to galas? Just so we clear.
But this is what I'm saying. You ask for examples, and when you get them,
I hear you.
You don't want them.
No, I hear you. Now, I'm not gonna change anything about, because like you say all the time, hey, Kimmi, with Kimmi, what you see is what you get. I am who
And
I am.
it is, and that's
the same
exactly
thing with
correct.
me.
The
Accept
difference
it or you
is
don't
I
want to
own it.
accept it. Well, I'm not finna own
There's
it.
the
Say I'm
difference.
bougie. I'm
I own
sorry.
it. I don't know why, because y'all.
What makes a person bougie?
Look in the mirror.
All I know today is not the same Mel I used to hang out with. She was bougie but fun. You know, it was different. But today it's like a whole new Mel, and I just don't even know.
I can't be around folks that think that I act like I'm bougie or better than anybody, but when I'm not. Nothing has changed in my life to make me start acting a certain way. The things I do, the things I buy.
That's so inaccurate.
Kimmi Scott has always been known as the one who values fairness and peace. Her habit of avoiding harsh labels, like refusing to call Martell Holt's mistress a side chick, comes from what she sees as an effort to stay out of unnecessary drama. Kimmi said before that she doesn't believe in slapping labels on people or situations unless it's absolutely necessary. For her, those labels only stir the pot and make things more complicated than they need to be. And let's be real, Kimmi's been through her own share of public judgment, especially when it comes to her relationship with Marie Scott. She knows how suffocating the spotlight can be, so maybe it's no surprise that she hesitates to pass judgment on others. In her mind, avoiding labels is her way of taking the high road, staying above the gossip, and not fueling unnecessary criticism. But Melody Shari, she ain't buying it. To Melody, Kimmi's neutrality feels more like selective hypocrisy. While Kimmi won't call out Martell's mistress, she's more than ready to throw in her 2 cents about how Melody is handling her life after the divorce. This double standard cuts deep for Melody. It feels personal, like Kimmi is picking and choosing when to take a stand, and Melody is clearly not a priority. To Melody, Kimmi's refusal to call out Martell and his side piece sends a clear message. I'm not really here for you, sis. And it's not just about the words, it's what those words represent. For Melody, who's had to endure public shame and heartbreak, having a so-called friend downplay the gravity of her situation feels like a slap in the face. This whole situation has thrown a massive wrench in their friendship, pushing both women to really face their own values and question how they align with each other. Melody's frustration with Kimmi's inconsistency is real, and she's not holding back in addressing it. And honey, this brings us to an even bigger bombshell.
You know, well, I have the blueprint. I have the blueprint.
She's referring to her and her marriage as the blueprint?
She said, yeah, I have the blueprints. I have the blueprints. You know, with Martell, you gotta put your foot down. You gotta let him know what you stand like. I left Martell for 6 months, and that whipped him into shape. I don't know. You think maybe she's telling me I need to leave Martell for a little bit?
Honey, no. And if she was, that's the most ridiculous I've ever heard, ever.
Yeah.
I don't think Mel is in the best position to give blueprints or marital advice. Because you have 10 years to your back, doesn't necessarily mean that the road was not rough. So she can keep her advice. You trying to reach some of your goals are gonna be incongruent with some of the goals he's trying to reach. You just gotta find a happy medium.
I think she believed that they have done that. They're there at that point in their life.
And so he
she's
had to
like,
cheat to get there?
Moment of unfiltered truth, Melody dropped a theory on why Kimmi might be so touchy when it comes to the whole infidelity conversation. According to Melody, Kimmi's reluctance to take a side could be hiding some personal fears or insecurities about her own relationship. Now, don't get it twisted, this wasn't some wild accusation. Melody was just connecting the dots based on Kimmi's actions. Melody suggested that Kimmi's constant avoidance of harsh labels and direct confrontation might be rooted in a deep fear of opening up Pandora's box in her own marriage. After all, we've all seen Kimmi squirm when it came to addressing issues about Maurice's loyalty in the past, and those moments definitely weren't comfortable. Melody went there, proposing that Kimmi's insistence on staying neutral could be her way of protecting herself, trying to keep her own relationship drama from spilling over into someone else's mess. During one intense scene, Melody confronts Kimmi directly saying, "You talk about neutrality, but it feels like you're neutral when it suits you. What are you really afraid of here?" That question Melody dropped, straight up blunt, but it was a bold move that showed just how ready she was to face uncomfortable truths, even if it meant turning up the heat between her and Kimmi. And let me tell you, this revelation hit harder than anyone expected. Not only did it catch Kimmi off guard, but it also had the rest of the cast shook. The idea that Kimmi's neutrality might be rooted in personal fears, that was something nobody had seen coming. And trust, it didn't stop there. Melody's words sent a shockwave through the group. Letitia Scott, who's always had her own beef with Melody, wasted no time jumping in. She didn't hold back, siding with Kimmi and throwing shade at Melody, claiming her accusations were more about bitterness than any real concern for the truth. Meanwhile, Martell Holt, he couldn't help but laugh with irritation. He shrugged off Melody's critique of Kimmi, calling it just another attempt for her to control the narrative. But here's the twist. Martell couldn't fully back Kimmi either. He subtly threw her under the bus, suggesting her attempts at neutrality didn't come without their own agenda, making it clear that Kimmi wasn't exactly flawless either. It was one of the rare moments where Melody and Martell were on the same page, but we all know those truths wouldn't last long.
Owes my family an apology. More so because a lot of times he'll have this perspective of, it was a joke, or I was trying to be funny, and it did not land at all.
For Kimmi, Melody's accusations hit like a ton of bricks. At first, she tried to brush it off, claiming it was just unnecessary drama. But baby, her body language spoke volumes. That calm, collected vibe she usually has, it cracked, and you could tell the weight of Melody's words was starting to sink in, leaving her visibly uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Maurice Scott wasn't about to let his wife go down without a fight. He jumped in, defending Kimmi's decision to avoid labeling others, and even accused Melody of crossing the line. But trust, the drama didn't stop there. It spread through the cast like wildfire. Tiffany and Louis Whipple found themselves hashing out the confrontation at a group event, and Tiffany didn't hold back. She admitted she saw some truth in Melody's claims, while Louis suggested the whole group might need to hit the reset button on how they handle personal beef. What's clear, this showdown between Melody and Kimmi is shaking up the group dynamics big time. Alliances are getting tested, and tensions are rising to a whole new level. While some cast members are here for Melody's outspokenness, calling it necessary and real, others are worried that she's doing more damage than good. But don't get it twisted. Fans are rallying behind Melody. They're praising her for being bold enough to speak her truth, and they're loving the fact that she's not out here tiptoeing around the truth like the rest of the crew. One fan said, "Melody is the only one brave enough to call out the hypocrisy. Everyone else is too busy trying to play it safe." On the flip side, Kimmi also has her defenders. Some viewers appreciate her attempts to keep the peace and avoid escalating already tense situations. One person wrote, "Kimmi doesn't owe anyone harsh words or labels. She's trying to stay above the mess, and that's admirable." Now, not everyone is on Melody's side. Some fans are calling her approach straight up confrontational, accusing her of airing her personal grievances just to stir up drama for the cameras. And you can see the divide. It's clear this feud has become one of the most polarizing storylines on the show. But what do y'all think? Was Melody in the right for calling out Kimmi, or is there something deeper going on that we still haven't been clued in on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're hooked on all the drama like we are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. You know we'll be bringing you all the latest tea, insider gossip, and shocking twists from Love and Marriage, Huntsville. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for even more jaw-dropping revelations.